What was that?
What was what?
Welcome to Recap King. In this video, we will explain Shark Lake. Shark Lake tells the story of a dangerous shark attack that dominates a lake. When the lives of the townsfolk are threatened, will a hero come and save them from the shark attack? Let's find out in Shark Lake. Shark Lake begins by showing two cops named Meredith and Lewis, who are assigned to arrest Clint. Clint became a suspect in the case of smuggling several types of rare animals. Meredith and Lewis raid Clint's residence that night, but they only find his daughter, Carly. Meanwhile, Clint tried to escape through the back door and drove away in his car. Meredith and Lewis immediately rushed after Clint. After being involved in a long chase, Meredith was desperate to hit Clint's car, which caused his car to fall into the lake. The police finally managed to corner Clint, and he turned himself in without a fight. After that, Clint was sentenced to 5 years in prison. After Clint's arrest, the police took Carly to the police station because she had no family anymore after her father was arrested. Carly's mother had died, and Clint had no relatives who could take care of Carly. Because of this, Lewis then suggested that Carly be entrusted to an orphanage, but Meredith felt sorry for her and decided to take care of the child. It had been 5 years since Meredith had cared for Carly. The child had grown into a very beautiful little girl, and Meredith seemed to love Carly as much as her own child. But Meredith just realized that Clint would soon be out of prison. She then became worried because Carly would return to live with her father. Meredith then expressed her concern with Lewis, but Lewis says that Clint is Carly's biological father and is the legal guardian to take care of her. Elsewhere, a husband and wife were taking a walk in the forest around the lake. The wife said she wanted to take her cell phone, which was left in the car, and told her husband to go first to the lake. But not long after, the wife heard her husband's screams. She rushed back to the lake to check on her husband's condition. Arriving at the lake, she saw her husband's body already floating in the lake in a prone position. She immediately went into the lake and grabbed her husband's body. But what a surprise her, because her husband had died in a state of a severed arm. She immediately contacted the local police. Meredith and Lewis arrived at the lake and immediately launched an investigation into the woman's report. Both concluded that the death of her husband was caused by wild bear attacks, which are quite common in the area. However, Meredith is not sure because the victim's body was found in the lake. News of the old man's death being attacked by a beast around the lake quickly spread across the small town. The authorities then asked local residents to be more careful. Shortly after the incident, Clint was finally released from prison. He returned to his house, which was not far from the lake. Clint's return seems to have been awaited by Clint's colleagues. Arriving at the house, two men were already at his house and immediately explained why they had come to him. The two men turned out to be Clint's friends, who often helped him carry out the smuggling of rare animals. They immediately asked Clint to rejoin in smuggling several types of rare animals, but Clint then refused the request because he had repented and promised not to make the same mistake. They seemed annoyed at being rejected by Clint and tried to threaten him, but Clint easily paralyzed them, and finally, the two men left. Elsewhere, Meredith was taking Carly to lunch at a restaurant. She then met a man named Peter, who expressed his opinion regarding the attack of a beast that killed the old man. Peter assumed that the old man's death was not due to a bear attack, especially from the bite marks and wounds. Meredith said the police were still investigating the case. In the evening, a couple of young people were seen making out on the edge of the lake. They decided to swim in the moonlit lake. But when the young man entered the water, he was immediately attacked by a mysterious creature hiding under the water. In an instant, the lake water around where he was attacked turned red because of his blood. The next morning, Peter came to Meredith at the police station carrying a fairly large box. Meredith tells Peter that the police have concluded the old man died from a wild bear attack. But Peter insisted that a bear did not attack the old man. He then opened the box he was carrying and showed the man's hand. Peter then tells Meredith that the bite scar on the old man's hand doesn't belong to a bear but a shark's tooth, and he is very sure about it. After getting clear evidence that a shark attack caused the fateful event that killed an old man some time ago, Meredith and Peter rushed to the lake to warn people working around the lake about a vicious shark attack. She immediately dismissed people who were swimming in the lake or doing other activities in the water. The authorities then announced that the lake would be temporarily closed due to indications of a ferocious shark attack and asked residents to stay away from the lake for the time being. Back at the police station, Lewis asked Peter about the existence of sharks in freshwater lakes because, usually, sharks can only live in the sea. Peter said that the possibility of the type of shark in the lake was a bull shark with very good adaptability to live in seawater and freshwater. Meredith then argued that someone had deliberately put the shark into the lake. Elsewhere, Clint had just finished taking a shower when his former co-workers visited his house again. But this time, the two men brought along their boss, Don, who often gave jobs to smuggle rare animals. Don then explained the existence of a bull shark in the lake. Apparently, there was a bull shark in Clint's car when it plunged into the lake 5 years ago. The bull shark finally escaped from its cage and roamed the lake. Don then gives Clint a choice to catch the bull shark and hand it over to him, or he will kidnap and hurt Carly. Of course, Clint wouldn't let anyone hurt his daughter and agreed to Don's request to recapture the bull shark. Don has also prepared a boat that Clint can use to catch the bull shark. Meanwhile, Lewis has brought in a prominent shark catcher named Garth, who usually catches sharks for television shows. Garth plans to capture the bull shark alive and display it at an event. After obtaining permission from the local police to catch the shark, Garth immediately headed to the lake with Lewis and a cameraman. Garth is ready to document his catching bull sharks. He immediately dived into the lake with his cameraman. But Garth and the cameraman ended up suffering the same tragic fate as the old man who was the victim of a vicious bull shark attack. Garth, who went straight into the lake without proper preparation, did not know that more than one bull shark was roaming the lake. Lewis, who witnessed Garth being attacked by a bull shark, could only shoot the ferocious fish from the boat, but Garth and his cameraman have died. Elsewhere, Meredith, who was worried about Carly's condition, decided to check out Clint's house and check the situation there. But Clint's house seemed deserted, and she couldn't find him anywhere. After exploring the rooms, she found a photo of a shark and a strange object she had never seen before. She rushed back to the police station to check what she found in Clint's house. It turns out that the object is a stun bullet that hunters often use to catch their prey. Meredith began to suspect that Clint was involved in the appearance of a bull shark in the lake. Meredith then went to Peter to inquire more about the bull shark. She then showed Peter a photo of the bull shark she had found in Clint's house. According to Peter, the bull shark in the photo looks pregnant because its stomach is enlarged. That means they will face bigger problems because the bull sharks that roam the lake will be more and more. They will also have more difficulty catching bull sharks, which are protected rare animals. Meredith and Peter immediately reported the incident to Lewis. Lewis then told about the incident to Garth and his cameraman. Meanwhile, Carly sneaks into Meredith's room to find her father's home address. Missing her father so much after being separated for 5 years, Carly intends to visit him no matter what. After getting the address, she rushed there by bicycle. On the other hand, Meredith's mom was walking her pet dog around the lake. Then suddenly, her grip loosened, causing the dog to gallop towards the lake. She immediately chased her pet into the water. Meredith returned home accompanied by Peter. The relationship between the two seems to be getting closer after investigating the case of a vicious shark attack in the lake. Meredith found no one in her house. When she entered her room, she was surprised that some of her things looked like someone had taken them apart. When she accidentally looked at the window, she was surprised to see her mother swimming in the lake. Meredith grabbed her gun and hurriedly ran out of the house to the lake. Peter also rushed to help her. Luckily, she managed to kill a bull shark that was about to attack her mother. But it looks like Meredith can't breathe a sigh of relief because suddenly her mother screamed from inside the house and said that Carly wasn't home. Meredith thought that Clint had kidnapped Carly. Meredith and Peter then rushed to Clint's house. On the way, she also asked the other policemen to help. Arrived at Clint's house first, Carly walked through room after room looking for her father's whereabouts. But the house was dark and lonely. Carly couldn't find her father anywhere. She finally approached Clint's boat, moored at the dock, and decided to hide there until her father returned. Clint, who had just arrived home, headed straight for his boat to catch a bull shark as Don ordered, but he was startled by the presence of a policeman who pointed a gun at him and accused him of kidnapping Carly. Hearing this, Clint then assumed that Don had kidnapped Carly, but then Carly came out of hiding on Clint's ship. The police were about to ambush Clint because it was proven that he had kidnapped Carly. Clint did not want to be caught by the police again and pushed the policeman into the lake and fled with his boat. Clint looks very miss her daughter. Carly also seemed happy because she was finally able to meet her father again. On the other hand, Meredith and Peter finally arrive at Clint's house and see him running off with Carly. Meredith, very worried about Carly's condition, heads straight to the dock and gets on another boat to catch up with Peter. But when they arrived in the middle of the lake with minimal lighting, especially at night, the boat they were traveling on crashed into another boat that was leaning against it. An accident was inevitable, and they were thrown into the water. Meredith and Peter's boat leaks. The accident also caused an explosion that provoked the bull shark to approach. Meredith and Peter hurriedly boarded the boat again to avoid the bull shark's attack, realizing the approaching danger. However, they could not stay on the boat because the water flow increased and filled the boat. Peter then took the initiative to improvise weapons from the items left on the boat, just for defense from bull shark attacks. He then suggested that they swim ashore using a buoy instead of drowning to death at the bottom of the lake. They have no other choice because swimming or staying on the boat is both high risk and risking their lives. Meredith agreed to Peter's idea, and the two of them tried to swim slowly to land, not to attract the bull shark's attention. But apparently, a bull shark noticed Meredith and Peter in the water and immediately attacked them. With their perfunctory weapons, they were finally able to subdue the bull shark. However, the fresh blood mixed with the lake water attracted the attention of another bull shark who was quite close to them. The bull shark immediately attacked Peter and Meredith, who were still exhausted, causing them to be caught off guard and too late to notice the appearance of another bull shark. The vicious shark immediately pounced on Peter, and he died instantly. When the vicious shark was still preying on Peter, Meredith saved herself by swimming as fast as possible. Luckily, Clint arrived just in time and saved Meredith. Instead of thanking him, Meredith got mad and accused him of kidnapping Carly. But Clint tried to explain that he didn't kidnap his daughter, but Carly herself, who came to him. Meredith didn't necessarily believe it. However, before their debate was over, the bull shark started attacking Clint's boat indiscriminately, causing Carly to fall into the lake. Without thinking, Clint immediately threw himself into the water to save his daughter. Clint must fight against the bull shark while protecting Carly. The attack from the vicious shark managed to injure his arm, but Clint still didn't give up. He continued to fight against the ferocity of the bull shark. Clint's struggle was not in vain. With help from Meredith, he finally killed the vicious shark and brought Carly back to the boat. Clint's boat leaks being attacked by a vicious shark. Clint, Meredith, and Carly could not help but have to leave the boat and return to the mainland in an inflatable boat. The sun had already risen when they reached land. Meredith then borrowed the phone from a woman who was jogging by the lake. While waiting for help to arrive, Meredith then apologized to Clint for having misjudged him. Meredith thinks that Clint is a bad person because he has a criminal record, but it turns out that Clint is soft-hearted and loves Carly very much, so Carly is willing to leave Meredith's house to visit her father. Clint seemed to understand Meredith's judgment because he was used to the judgment of other people, who often thought of him as a bad person. Not long after, Lewis arrived with the police and paramedics. Meredith immediately described the events in detail and said that Clint had saved her and Carly. Lewis then asked Clint to come with him to the police station so he could be questioned about Meredith's report. Meredith then went to Carly and reassured the girl that her father was coming with the police not to go to jail and Carly would see him again soon. The film ends.